Hey, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Tokyo on my recent stay in April 2025. I'm going to be reviewing the room and amenities, the gym, the breakfast, and the overall vibe and decor of the hotel. The Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Tokyo occupies floors 45 through 53 of the Midtown Hotel in the Roppongi district. This means that the entire hotel is spread out across only 8 floors, which is not as many as I was expecting, although this does make it one of, if not the highest hotels in Tokyo. My room for this stay was room 4838, which is a suite room. I didn't actually pay for this suite upgrade, but rather received it complimentary by virtue of my Marriott Titanium status. Let's go check it out. One interesting thing about this room is that despite being billed as a suite, it doesn't have the traditional suite layout of a separate bedroom and separate living area, but rather is just a really large room. The entrance hallway is larger than several hotel rooms I've stayed in before. The in-room coffee is an espresso machine, and I note they have the particular Tokyo pods for it, which was a nice touch. The tea facilities are made by Wedgwood, and the water is the Ritz-Carlton own brand water. Underneath this area, you will see several additional cups for things like the coffee and the tea, as well as various snacks which are available as part of a minibar. The tea was by a brand called Roppongi. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. As you would expect from tea served in Japan, this tasted great. The minibar prices were, let's just use the word, eye-watering. From $9 for a Coke Zero up to $250 for a half bottle of champagne. Be very careful what you get here. Notwithstanding the prices, I've got to say this was one of the highest quality minibars I've ever seen. It's extremely rare to find a half bottle of Krug champagne in a hotel minibar. Seeing the spirits, however, gave me memories of my last stay in Tokyo back in 2019. Where I found a 21-year-old Hibiki miniature for only $30. If I could go back in time, I would have bought every bottle they had. At the back of the room is a full-sized walk-in closet with bathrobes, hangers, ironing board, and of course, the obligatory hotel slippers. Hotel rooms in Tokyo tend to gravitate towards the smaller size, so having a full-size walk-in closet was incredible. A shoe shine service was available, although I didn't take advantage of it on this trip. I hope this video gives you a perspective on how the room is laid out. It was quite an odd design, very large, but it was just a bedroom with a lot of side areas. Let's move on to the main room. Hey, if you're enjoying the video so far, please subscribe. The room itself is a twin room. Although I was staying by myself, I needed to get the twin beds in order to get the upgrade. As you can see, there's a huge amount of floor space in this room. The beds were extremely comfortable, and the housekeeping did a wonderful job on ironing the bed sheets. There were barely any creases. By the side of the bed were control buttons that controlled everything in the room, from the lighting to the curtains. One thing that I did notice was missing from this side table was power sockets. There were absolutely no power plugs by the side of the bedroom. To get around this, the hotel had installed a few USB-A style chargers, which connected to a power socket tucked right in the back. But as you all know, you're not going to get much of a charge from USB-A. This wasn't a huge problem, but definitely something to bear in mind. I was pleased to see that the other bed was also made to a meticulous fashion. These were very comfortable to sleep on, and I got a good night's sleep on both of my nights. For me, one of the best things about this room was the fact it's a corner room, and you had corner windows to take a look over the Tokyo skyline. Regrettably, when I was filming this video, the weather wasn't great. It was cloudy and rainy, but it did get better during my stay, and I've got to say, you get some really amazing views here at night. I'll show you that later in the video. To make up for the lack of power sockets by the bed, mercifully, the hotel provided plenty in the desk area, which was one of the nicer hotel desks I've ever seen. Provided within the desk, which is something I always love to see at high-end hotels, was their own in-house stationery. This included letter-headed paper, envelopes, and some postcards. Let me know in the comments what you think of this. Is this a nice touch or a waste of money? I personally love it. Listed in here was their in-room massage menu, which again was fairly eye-watering. I worked out that 4 minutes of the in-room massage would get me 1 hour at my usual place in Jakarta. I think I'll wait till then. Although, don't get me wrong, I fully appreciate it's going to be more expensive in a 5-star Tokyo hotel. I am only joking. The hotel was nice enough to provide me with an in-room welcome gift. These were some local Tokyo snacks. Sort of a sweet but not too sweet biscuit. Quite nice, I'd never had it before. I apologise for keeping on focusing on this, but it's such an oddly designed suite room. Don't get me wrong, I loved it, and I was so grateful to receive the upgrade. I'm just commenting on the sheer amount of floor space that ultimately amounts to just a twin room. Very interesting, it must be due to the layout of the building. Moving on to the bathroom, the hotel was incredibly generous with their amenities. You had everything from combs, shavers, toothbrushes, mouthwashes, to little mini cans of shaving cream. And, with the his and hers sinks, these were duplicated, so you had 2 of everything. I think this does have to be the most generous bathroom amenities I've seen in a hotel. Receiving 1 set is normal, 2 sets is very kind. Another thing that I was really pleased to see in the room was they had installed an air purifier. Tokyo is one of the largest and most densely populated cities in the world, so the air pollution can sometimes be an issue, although not anywhere near as bad as some other cities I've been in. But the fact that they thought to install an air purifier just to make sure that the air you're breathing in the room is like the Swiss Alps, very nice of them. Both a shower and a soaking tub were provided in the bathroom, and there was a detachable shower head, which I always like to see. Okay, I'm going to mess this up. The toiletries were provided by Diptyque. I don't know how to pronounce that. Again, please let me know in the comments how it's meant to be pronounced. But they were really high quality. I love this brand, even if I don't know how to pronounce it. Moving into the toilet area, you will not be surprised to learn this was the Japanese style toilet, with the self-cleaning functions that are available at a push of a button. It's always nice when hotels provide this style of toilet, although in Japan you would kind of expect it. I was very pleased to see that the soaking tub was full-sized. Some of the ones I've seen in Japan are barely large enough to fit a child, so the fact that they went full-size on this was great. You could lie fully flat. The soap was also by that Diptyque brand that I can't pronounce. Having spent most of the day out exploring Tokyo, I returned to the room in the evening and saw that a turn-down service had been completed. All of my coffee pods were replenished, which is great because I drank a lot earlier in the day, and they left an ice bucket near the bar area. Moving into the bedroom, I saw that the beds had been turned down, the air purifier had been switched on, and they had moved bottles of water to the side of the bed with a little note from the person who had made the room. I was grateful to see that the blinds had been left undrawn. This was perfect because the view from the room at night was so much better than during the day. I don't know about you, but I always find cities look better at night, and Tokyo is no exception. Seeing the city below from 45 stories in the air was amazing. I realised that this camera wasn't fully doing it justice, so I went and turned off all the lights in the room so that I'd take a video showing you just what it looked like. I've got to say, I think this view alone justifies the room in this hotel. It's absolutely incredible. I could have stayed here looking at this all night, which I practically did. I'm just going to let you enjoy this next bit in silence. That night, I got a solid 7 hours sleep and woke up by adjusting the manual blind openers by the side of the bed. Again, what an incredible view to wake up to. I really like this room. One feature of a room, which I only noticed the next day, was how the blinds protect privacy. You see, I was a little bit concerned at first of how close we were to the rooms on the other side of the building. I thought they could see right into my room. However, look at this. The windows are designed in such a way that when you look at them from an angle, they don't let the light in. This protects the privacy of both yourself and the people in the other rooms, so you can't see into them and they can't see into you. However, when you look in the other direction, the glass becomes completely transparent. I really wish more hotels had this feature. I then went to floor 45, where breakfast is served. The breakfast was a very odd one, if I'm being honest. You had a choice of choosing the Japanese breakfast or the American breakfast. The American breakfast came with your typical choices like omelettes or pancakes and access to a buffet, having things like croissants and pastries. However, only the American breakfast could access the buffet. If you went for the Japanese breakfast, this is all you got. It was a very nice breakfast, but I would have liked to have selected some of the fruits from the main buffet. Only having 1 orange and 2 small strawberries wasn't a great fruit selection. For me personally, the breakfast was the low point of this hotel stay. Given the astronomical rates they charged for rooms, and the fact that the breakfast wasn't cheap, it was about 6,000 yen, I would have expected more. Access to the buffet should come with all breakfasts, not just the American one. After breakfast, I headed to the gym, which was very nicely appointed. It's always great to work out on a high floor, and they had everything you could need in here, from pretty much every bodyweight machine you could reasonably need in a gym in a hotel, to various treadmills and exercise bikes. The entire time I was there were maybe 2 or 3 other people working out, so it certainly never got crowded. The machines were also a high quality, and look in the background. Having that view while you work out on a treadmill, that just about makes treadmill running bearable. Just about. So, in conclusion, I have very mixed thoughts about this hotel. Don't get me wrong, objectively it's lovely. The room I received was huge, all the finishings like the coffee machine, the tea and the bedding were of very, very high quality. And wow, taking in that view at night was breathtaking. Definitely a memory I'm never going to forget. However, the question does have to be asked, is it worth it? Now, I appreciate I was staying during peak season. This was about 2 weeks after the main Sakura season in April, and yeah, it's going to be just about the most expensive that Japan can get. However, this room cost $2,500 per night. I didn't pay that. I got an upgrade to it, and I used my Marriott Bonvoy points for the initial room. But even the entry-level rooms were going for over $1,000 a night. I would never pay $2,500 for this room. I wouldn't even pay the $1,000 for the entry-level room. I first stayed in this hotel in 2019, and back then, rates were closer to $500, which, whilst expensive, for a city centre hotel, and particularly one as nice as this, I thought was reasonable. However, rates have pretty much doubled, and more at the higher end, since my last stay. Was it worth it? For me, undoubtedly worth it. I paid 100,000 Marriott points, and I got an upgrade. So whilst that's a lot of points, and would have got me about 5 nights at other hotels, it was worth it to splurge out for this one trip. Are the cash rates worth it? That's very much for you to decide.